So welcome to another episode of Ask Infinity. My name is Jordan Lindo. As usual, I'll be taking care of the ask, and today's Infinity is Rosa Rago.
That's amazing!
Rosa, how are you?
You didn't even tell me what your intro is going to be. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That's
how I started
So I'm
show.
the infinity. Every time you have someone, we're all infinities. You're
Well, I'm asking Infinity.
That's brilliant. That's deep.
Oh, no one's ever said that. Thank you.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. There's so much intention there. So what was the question? You want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, just let us know who you are and just give us, like a very basic, I know there's so much you could say.
Yeah.
Give us just a very basic idea of what you do and what you're up to right now. Because I want you to
What I do?
that.
Okay. Oh man, I do so many things. So, quick intro. So I grew up being an athlete all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just quick. I'm just gonna give the quick highlights, and people can find out more information.
Yeah,
on whatever.
Sure.
So I've been an athlete all my life, and then when I was in university in the States, I was there on a soccer scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 4-year, obviously. It was a 5-year degree, but you can only play for 4 years. So after my 4th year, I was hit by a car, and it changed my life completely. And I went completely opposite from being a go athlete, doer from control and fear to lacking purpose and real intention, but just kind of surviving to complete Zen meditation, stretching, less working out, and shifting more to intention, like literally creating my life from an intentional space, an intentional place. A life of clarity and abundance, and it was just a complete turnaround. And now what I do is, my passion's like training and fitness. That's what it is. But when I started off as a trainer after I graduated, over time, like everything, there was an evolution. And in being present to what I was doing with my clients, I would discover things, limitations. So I always have to simplify. You work with people 3 times a week, and you start to know them as people, and eventually it just becomes something so much more, right? And so it over time, it eventually kind of evolved to, I work
Not
with
always. Not always.
What?
I want to stop you there because that's very unique.
What's
a lot of people are trainers or practitioners, and they work with people for decades.
Yes.
But it doesn't become something more. They remain a number from the beginning of that time to the end of that time.
This is true.
So,
this is true. But I would say relative to what time frame. So maybe they stay there for 20 years until something hits them, or we can make this real deep talk and say some other lifetime kind of
but
thing.
I'm saying with you, it seems to be different. You actually have built a connection with these people, and you've made it more than just, hey, I'm coming to get help.
Yes, yeah, totally. It was more about, hey, I know this is what you want, but this is what I see and what I feel.
Yeah.
And let me show you. And in that, there was just a trust, and really just, it felt more like a sharing. But ultimately, now what I do is I teach self-love in so many ways. There's different events, there's workshops, there's, online coaching and everything like that. But I teach self-love, and I help people to understand the mind-body connection, because understanding the mind-body connection has a lot to do with, how we show up in life. And how we show up from, we're all infinite. We're all infinite, and we're all perfect. We're all made in the image of God, infinity, higher power. We're all made in the image of perfection. But, the part of our lives that we actually see and think we're experiencing isn't perceived that way.
Okay,
and so,
whoa, slow down.
Yeah.
That's heavy. I like what you said there.
Yeah.
And I want to go there, but I want to finish with your
Got it.
Because that's deep. And I know my mind, we're going to go down a rabbit hole and never come back.
Got it. Okay. So basically, I just help people to learn about self-love, mind-body connection, which allows them to find direction and clarity in their life, to live the life that they were meant to live their life purpose, to find their purpose, and to be able to be fully expressed as their most authentic self. And there's a process in how I do that, but that's ultimately what I do.
I love it. I love it. So what inspired you to do that? Like,
it was never really a choice. It was just really about being self-inspired, you know? Like I was always driven by, like as a child, I remember always writing letters to God, and you know, at nighttime, my mom would always do prayer with us at night. So I kind of developed this unconscious relationship with, you know, God, and not in a religious sense, but a higher power. And then over time, I was just always driven to be really good. And not because I felt like I should be good. It's just for some reason inside of me, like I was driven by being good. And as I got older over time, it was almost like, you know, when you're a kid and you want to do your parents proud.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do like God proud, if that makes sense. Like there's always like, for me, it was really just to do it for the feeling for, for love kind of thing.
So you mean to tell me that nobody imparted that feeling of higher power, God, into you? It was just always there? Like religion didn't introduce you to God? Like you had your own connection?
Yeah, for sure. I've always remembered it, for sure. I always remember that feeling. Yeah. But, you know, as you become a kid and everything, there's that part where you go to church and you pray because you have to.
Yeah.
So I actually wasn't very engaged in church.
Yeah.
But inside of me, how I went about things, how the choice I made, I always came from a place of just wanting to just to be good, to be a good person. Mm-hmm. And so maybe during my teenage years I didn't relate it to God. I wasn't speaking, you know, I was just an athlete and everything like that, but there was always an acknowledgement of goodness. Yeah. Right? And so you do it, why? Because it's goodness, not to validate, not for self-acknowledgement, not because you like, it's just what you do it for. And then as I got older and I started to go through a self-discovery and realize what really drives me, I just feel really driven to, you know, live a life that is the word.
I like to, and see, like that's so beautifully said.
Yeah.
But I really want to zoom into that because
for sure.
Especially when great people have siblings, I'm always interested to know what sets them apart. Like you guys grew up in the same house. Why did you have that sense of goodness? Why didn't your siblings have that? Or why didn't they have it to the degree that you do?
Yeah. So it's funny because that's a comparison. So I wouldn't say you could compare, because I would say we're all experiencing that. It's just how much we choose to entertain it. It's how much we're going to show.
See how good you are?
but what I'm saying is that with my siblings, you know, for a person who lives very much of the why, the one thing I never ask why about is about the greatness of the greatness. It's like, that's some things that were just like, it just is. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. Why do people suffer? Why do some of us awaken earlier than others? Why do some of us go through what we go through? It's like some things, it's like if we live trying to understand why, really it's about understanding, but why do we need to know, right? And if that why is not gonna bring more clarity to your decisions, you know, and bring more, it's not gonna influence how you move forward to make better decisions, that's the only reason why we need to know why. I'd say I do this why, the why is love. That's it. The why is unconditional love. And so that's enough. So this is why I'm gonna make this decision moving forward. But the why of, you know, the upbringing, why my brothers, you know, I could say a lot of it's to do with how I am now. One thing I did notice when I was a kid is I was always into being in the body and with nature. And so I remember just literally being in my body and connecting. So I was always connecting, not knowing. And I remember when my brothers would play soccer, I would like look at the tree and just remember being like, this tree when I leave is still gonna be here. And it's just as real now as even when I leave, when it's not in my reality. I remember as a kid thinking about this, being like in awe of these like things. And so those are the kinds of things now, not just with the tree, but connecting with the body. That's kind of what I do now, that I realize has strengthened my connection, but I'm doing it from a conscious place now, and I'm teaching people this from how I've experienced it. And so, yeah, my brothers never stretched and went in their body and connected. Right?
Oh, see, that's so beautiful. So it's literally been a part of your life since you can remember.
Yeah.
Stretch, body connection.
Totally.
That's so
always. Yeah. It is weird. I don't know why.
It's literally determined your life. Like it's become the centerpiece that is what you built your life on.
Yeah, for sure. It's weird. I
know.
What
would your life be without fitness and body mind connection? Like who would Rosa be without that?
Well, I'm not my stretching and all that stuff. It's like my stretching and all that opens me up to being still and letting go of all the illusion, the noise that allows me just to acknowledge that like who I am is infinite, like everyone else. And I just get to experience it consciously. So everyone else just stretch and breathe and chill out a little bit. It kind of like brings down the volume to realize that who we all are is the same. You know, that the stretching and the meditation, all that doesn't define me. It's just a way in which I can connect and experience the truth of what is.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Do you think that you could be doing anything else? Like if you were not this Rosa?
Oh, for sure, I can do anything else. I'd still stretch and meditate, but like.
What if you couldn't? Like, is there a version of you that doesn't stretch, doesn't meditate,
doesn't take breaths, deep breaths?
Yeah.
No, like then that would mean I would stop breathing. So we can't live when we stop breathing. I'm just adding more intention to my breath with the intention to experience something inside of me. Yeah, that's connected to breath. So you're saying, what if you stop doing that? It's like, okay, well, I probably would be a robot in life, and I probably would get stressed and have anxiety, and I probably would, you know, yeah, everything that I'm gaining from doing that, you know. But here's the thing is, it's not, I mean, ultimately, it's like what I do is I am just Rosa. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not any of that. But it changes and evolves. First, I was a personal trainer. Then it was like, yeah, I'm a fascial stretch therapist. Then it's like, yeah, I'm also a coach. And yeah, you know what? I teach self-love. And you know what? I'm a friend. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a whatever. I show up the same way consistently all day. And that's it. And you know what? I'm liking to get into real estate now and thinking of, you know, I like to have a family. So you start to think about what you want to do with your life. But the foundation, the core is coming from a place of stillness. And so you start to create life from that space. So who I am is that stillness. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, what do I want to do with this? Okay, now I'm going to do this. But thematically, at the end of the day, it's just the purpose is just to be love, to give love, to
I think, and
share love.
I want to just tell everybody a quick story because I love that you said that.
Yeah.
I want to paint the picture.
Okay.
This is the picture. This is what I see, and this is why I'm asking all these questions.
Okay.
When I look at you, right, I see somebody who is just so beaming love, like without intention, like you're just beaming it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I walked into your house. There's a beautiful piece of art there that says, "Love lives here."
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that is super cool because it's like you know how your mind is always going.
Yes.
For the most part, sometimes you meditate, it's not going, but even if it's not going, you still see it. It's loud.
Yes.
It says love lives here, and it's like, okay. It literally is like a bodyguard.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like energetically. Like there was like a wave of love as soon as you walk in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I come up the stairs, and it's like. I was telling Rosa before we got on that love is literally every part of this space. You cannot look and not see love. So like this is what I'm trying to get at is not everybody, and this is not a criticism, right? We're all different, we're all unique, we're all special in our own ways. But I wanna kind of dive in on this because I think it's cool, and I wanna get your perspective.
Yeah.
But not everybody is so into love like this. Yes. Like, I love love. I thought I did. Yeah. But I'm not like this.
Yeah.
Well, so why?
Well, it's love? Funny. Can I tell you what's funny?
Yeah.
Is that a lot of these things that I have are gifts from people. And so these are the kind of gifts I get.
Okay.
And then, I mean, these plants are my boyfriend's plants. This is a gift.
Yeah.
You know, so this is actually just the love that I've been receiving. It just happens to say love on it as well. So you're actually feeling the love that I receive in my life. And so when you have so much love around you, such an abundance of love, it's felt. So
yeah. And then it starts to manifest.
Yeah, it's not me like I'm gonna put a sign of love and I'm gonna put it because I'm gonna create it. It's like this is what love's creation's done.
So I like that.
Yeah.
This is what love's creation has done.
Yeah, it literally manifested signs of love in my house through gifts.
And the happiness jar. I almost forgot.
That was a gift. For my birthday, a friend created a jar for me. It says happiness jar with a pad of paper.
Yeah.
And every time I have something to be happy about, you write down, you put it in there. Amazing.
But
I'm like, thanks. You put it on there, and then you walk in, and you can feel the love of the people in my life. It's beautiful. You just made me realize that.
What?
I'm gonna call every single person who gave me a gift, and I'm gonna be grateful for them. Like the people in my life have literally like showered my house with so much love that you walked in here and gave me all the credit.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you. Like, shout out to all the people.
Yeah.
Who
love me.
Who took the time and the intention to say, you know what, Rosa's gonna love this.
Yeah.
You know, because this is a very intentional piece, right?
Oh my God, love and you shall be loved. It's a true fact.
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
I honestly put this here because there was an HP symbol on your computer, and I'm like, I don't want to put HP in the. So I'm like, I'm looking for things to put there, and I'm like, I just grabbed this, and I didn't even realize like that would be a beautiful thing to put in the subconscious of people watching. So yeah, okay, that puts things into perspective. Love has always been who you were, and it's just created the person you are today. Very interesting.
Yeah. It's it's who we all are, and that's the thing. It's who we all are.
No.
Yes.
I am gonna.
Here's the thing. It's who we all are. Yeah. But one thing I have to say is that you know, it's funny because the perception is that, you know, life is easy. You're naive, or you know, and you know everything's perfect or whatever. That's just the perception, right? But to really surrender to love comes with a lot of great pain as well. And I think a lot of us suffer, and really it's I think we are all love, but a lot of us suffer, but many of us don't want to surrender to love. And so maybe what I could say is different is that I've gone through a lot of sufferings growing up. Life has really, really, really humbled me. It really has. And so just to give a little bit of reality of, what could be perceived.
Yes.
And just, if there's anything that I could say, it's that, when you're suffering and you're going through hardship, doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
The only real answer is love. And the reason why we suffer and things keep happening that way is because the whole point is to bring us back to who we are, to humble us enough to just surrender. And what we do instead is we get more angry, we get more frustrated, we get more afraid, we try to control more. We need more, we want more, we do all these things instead of just saying like, kind of like, I give up. I just, I remember there was a point where with everything that I was, you go through a lot of hardship in life, and everyone's going through the same thing. Your 20s when you make all the mistakes, your 30s when you really discover yourself and all that. Yeah. So I just remember just knowing and setting the intention, like, I just want peace. Your core values evolve as you get older. It's like, I really just want peace. Like, there's a lot of things that we entertain that really is just words, and with no real intention. It's just to talk. It's just to be, whether it's gossip, whether it's like it's just drama. It's just, we just need this noise, and
well, I think it's cultural, right? I think that we've been brought up in this cultural like soup, and it's built on guarding our heart, guarding our
totally.
Love, and I think that's how we move through the world. It's
and putting conditions on what we want to receive and what we want to give when that's not possible. You can't, we put conditions. There's too many conditions.
So I want to
imagine, here's another imagine, okay? Imagine, I think kids do that.
Imagine,
but if you think about it, imagination, for you to actually create something, it has to start with an imagination. So let's just keep imagining. Okay. Imagine if everyone and this would mean that everyone knew who they were, that they just were a certain way just because. Not to get something back in return, not to try to impress someone. They just were just because they were, meaning nothing about their being had anything to do with what's going on inside. Imagine, like, what would life be like? Just think about it.
I think that's where we're heading.
Yeah.
But it would be amazing. It would be amazing. But I think that we all, I don't know what it is. We all have to pay like this imagined price. Like it's so easy. We could all be that today.
What do you mean? Tell me more about that imagined price.
Okay, like I look at you and I see somebody who, your transition wasn't, like you meditated and you got there. It was a lifelong series of life events, circumstances that kind of molded you into the person that you are today.
Yeah. And well, I mean, we're all given circumstances in life that to mold us, but it was more about how I chose to respond to those things.
That's where I wanted to go.
It could have made me or broken me.
Why did you respond the way you did?
That's what I don't know. That's the why, where it doesn't matter. All I know is that I feel blessed and grateful that I did. And there's and in some part I feel like, you know, the type of person that I am is that if I find out about something good that works, I'm going to share it. And maybe whatever it was that decided that I needed to choose that, to experience it, was maybe because there was a knowing that I'd be responsible about it. And so literally, you know, I wake up every morning clear about why I'm here and to really share and spread what it is that I feel works, right? So. Yeah,
I think, and maybe you're helping me with this because I'm so fascinated and so curious about what makes great people tick. Like, what is it? Like, you're like, you know what? Maybe it's better not knowing. But for me, I'm a sociologist.
So here's the thing,
I'm a people watcher. I love people, and I need to know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But the hunger is real.
You know what's crazy?
What?
It's that when we let go of the need to know is when we actually are in the experience, and when we're in the experience is when we know. So it actually starts with not needing to know. That's how we come to know. But now you can't try to not know because it's going to lead you to the knowing because it's still driven by the wanting to know.
Yeah. So it's literally.
So you gotta have to not want to know with the assumptions that you may never know. You need to first get to a full, authentic place of acceptance. Like, you know what? I don't know, and I may never know.
I like that. I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
I think that this is good.
Yeah.
I think,
but with an openness that if you need to know, it'll show itself. And because you're open, you will receive it. You will get it and you'll be like, got it. I guess I needed to know that. Okay. So you're open. Not in a way where, because, you know, that can make it look like that you're very closed-minded. You never change. Isn't that not at all?
What? You're giving me some real dope insights right now, energetically. Because I'm thinking, if we knew the why, right? It's like magic. Once you know the trick, is it special anymore?
A trick?
It's like it's not the same.
Trick. What do you mean? Tell me more about that.
Okay, if I knew why you were the way you were, would you be, like, would it be so special?
No, it'd be mind-blowing. It would be.
It?
Yeah?
I think it would be
because I think the why is so great that we can never know it, that it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing that we couldn't know why because of how great it is.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's so
the why
big.
is so big
that
once you get to a certain bigness, you're like, I get it. Like, I'll never, the bigger it gets, the more you realize you're just so small and you know nothing, that you're like, I get it. I just acknowledge that it is. And you go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I felt
so
like I really put something to bed there.
Yeah. The more you accept your smallness, the more you experience the bigness.
Facebook
yeah,
posts.
because knowing your smallness while accepting the bigness, it makes it easy to go out in life and be great.
Where's my God? Okay, I'm literally gonna watch this again.
Yeah,
that's a gem.
Yeah, but it allows you to move through life being great, knowing that you're being great, but that you're not the greatness. So it doesn't make you make other people less than. It just, but it moves you to want to show people their own greatness. You know,
I think that's important.
Yeah, because you know it's outside of you and it's from you all the way out extended. And if you're here, you're part of it because from you it extends here. You know, so it's like, yeah, it's so great that you're like, yeah, I get it. I'm just a speck, like a drop in the water. I just see myself as the drop, but I'm part of the water. And like, at some point when you look at the water and it's infinite, are you ever like, I wonder where it ends? Well, sure, you can waste your time. You can just swim and enjoy the water. It's good for your skin.
Ah, I love that. I love that you made it practical.
Yeah.
Now I have it.
Yeah, it's like, who cares how big it is? Just know that it's big and it's real.
Like, that's not even important.
You're in it.
It's like, when you get to the end, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Now know so that true. It's there and know that you're part of it. And now just, yeah.
No, that's true. That's true. I think that there's a part of me that's an explorer. And I think that's what it is. It's like, yeah, it's true. I could just enjoy the water, but a part of me is like exploring and seeing how far the water goes is an adventure in and of itself.
I know, but you'll drown.
Well, I'll build a boat.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. The great part of you offered that.
Yeah, of course. And then but you're right. It's good. It's better not to be consumed with it and just allow the curiosity to unfold in a natural way.
To trust in it before you have to know why.
Yeah.
To trust in it, so be open to it. Be open, and you're open, and when you're open, you can trust, but there's no need to understand the why or the what or anything, and just to move forward. And as you're open, you just kind of receive what you got to receive, and you flow, right? And it's not always easy, but there's times where, just like the wave, we need to chill, you know. But when we can even like embrace those phases, you know, in hindsight, we're always flowing, even in the
chaos.
In the chaos, right? It's not about, because what we see on the outside is just if you can be going through shit in life, like you're the worst things, to the point where you're even like saying terrible things or whatever, you're saying things and you're doing things that's completely out of character, right? Because all of us is love, right? So I mean, most of us, it's just, that's how the reality of it, right? Our emotions get the best of us and all that stuff. But if we can be all that, and while being it, still have the ability to be like, man, I'm really like upset right now, and like be able to acknowledge the fact that it's there, enough so the people around us also, we can just be aware of the impact. So at some point we snap out of it, because we're not there forever, because that's an illusion. At some point we snap out of it. Unless we're that stubborn, we can get to a point, but eventually at some point you're gonna have to surrender. Just enough so that we can come out of it and acknowledge, and you know, the people around us who've maybe been in the impact, and apologize, you know, and trust in who we are, knowing that that's not who we were. You know, we'd be a lot more self-forgiving, be a lot more forgiving for others, and recognize that these parts of us come out. Like, we're going through so many things in life, it's not who we are, you know, but the things that keep us away from who we are, the parts of us that we want to hold on to that are you know, are gonna be there, like our shadows or whatever. He said this, she said, I mean, people are holding on to things for like 15, 20 years.
I know.
And ruining their whole life.
I know.
You know, they're ruining friendships, sabotaging relationships, you know, and it's taking away from actually putting time into building the relationship. It's like an event happens, let it go. There's, you know, two people going through two different things. Whatever happened in the interaction between those two when they're together is not the whole story. There's so much more to each person, you know? And the ones who walk away and hold on to so much are wasting their time in the illusion. Right?
But this is another thing I could contest that with, is like, are we wasting our time, or is that part of the journey?
We're wasting our time if we don't surrender, acknowledge, take responsibility, apologize, and return back to love. We're wasting our time experiencing love. That's what we're here for. So, you know, life is not about, money makes life easier, yes. Relationships make life easier, yes. There's a lot of things that make life easier, but the actual experience of love and happiness inside doesn't actually come from that stuff, right? And so that's why we can have money, we can have relationships, and still not be grateful and be miserable, right? So we're wasting time not appreciating, being grateful for what we actually already have. And the reason why is because we've forgotten we're loved, so we need everyone else in the world to remind us, so we seek validation and, you know, all that stuff. So it's unfortunate. I mean, how it got like that, I'm not sure. However, times have changed, and I'm really looking forward to the future for my kids and their kids, the future generations. You know, everyone has their own beliefs and, you know, and all that stuff, but I'm thinking we're heading into like beautiful direction.
Amazing times.
Yeah,
like the
beautiful
kids
direction
coming up now they're so tapped in. There's so much.
They're so enlightened. I mean, unfortunately, they're being judged for being entitled, but that's only because they don't understand, you know, this level of maybe suffering through a survival standpoint.
Yes.
So they're suffering more from a self-worth standpoint, right? And so here's the beautiful thing, is what you suffer from is what you end up mastering. So, you know, our parents and their generation, they suffered through survival and everything, and they had to make it. And because of that, they can appreciate like hard work and everything, to the point where they project that to the younger generation and say that they're entitled or whatever. So we all learn from what we've gone through, right? And so if the next generation, they're all going through, you know, now it's more about like mental illness and self-love and self-worth and all that. And so we're inevitably going to conquer that, because first we need to put things to the forefront. So once we can acknowledge that there even is a problem, then it's already in the process of being resolved, because we're acknowledging that it's there. So
So, okay, you have all this love. It's everywhere. It's in you. It's what you are. Do you feel like
we
this
all
ever?
Do.
I know, right?
Yeah, we all
but
do.
the spotlight's on you today.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, thank you.
Do you feel like there's ever times where you feel like it's not present?
Ooh, that it's not present.
Yeah.
You
or
know,
you're experiencing like it's not present.
I'm experiencing like I'm not present, but the faith and the knowing is always there.
Okay.
So, you know, I've come to accept not to just dim myself.
Yeah.
In the world that we live in, it's been very difficult to humbly admit that, yeah, like I wake up with purpose every morning, and I go to bed grateful every night. And I am like this most of the time.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality. And it's like, God forbid you do. Then, you know, it's, but I've come to the point where I just realized that, you know, it's not necessary for me to dim. But one thing I will say is that, there was a time in my life, maybe a few, but the most recent about 1.5 years ago, where I actually did go through a disconnect, where I even questioned it, but the knowing was still there. But I questioned in my heart where I couldn't feel it. I let it go. I didn't want it. And that was when I had the worst experiences of my life. I actually was driven to the point of like asking like suicide, like I had suicidal thoughts, and I knew I wouldn't. And there's another voice saying, "Okay, Rosa, you're just like this is what you're going through." And there was a knowing that I was going to come out of it. But it's almost like, you know, you experience your lows and your highs, your lows and your highs, your lows and your highs, and then eventually you like get it, and you're kind of always high even in your lows. Because it's like you're going through a low, but you know that's not who you are. You're here, so you're like, okay, I'm just gonna wait till and there I am again, right? It's almost like I hit this low that was so low that I was just like, I fell and I was like, looked around. I was in a dark room, like, where am I? You know?
Like the sunken place. Have you seen Get Out, the movie?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Never mind, continue.
Yeah. So anyway, so I would say like that was like a rock bottom, but it was interesting because like every low, all it ended up doing, okay, on an even deeper level was it allowed me to experience a level of self-compassion, you know, for what it is that I went through, because I'm always looking to take responsibility on where I could be better, or where maybe I could have, you know, contributed and what the message was. I was always open to that, to the guidance.
Yeah.
I became wiser, I became stronger, and it also helped me to appreciate the contrast of the people in my life that truly love me. You know, it's interesting just to see the consistency. Like love is consistent, you know, and there was a consistency in how certain people showed up for me, and it allowed me to appreciate them. So rather than focusing on kind of what I went through, it allowed me to have the opportunity to see, you know, a greater love in a way where it wasn't just about, you know, I love Rosa, thank you for what you've done for me. It's like, I love you even if you can't do anything for me right now. I recognize kind of what you're going through, and I'm gonna love you anyways, like just being there for me. Yeah, totally got to it allowed me to experience like the other side, and it allowed me to appreciate myself more, who I was for people, because I'm a big believer of being there for people, especially when they're in the most vulnerable state.
Well, just like the gym lady, right?
The gym lady. Yeah. Seriously.
Do you want to go into that? I really want to. I really want to dive into that because I think it's interesting how people experience us in the world.
Yes.
So tell us the gym story.
Well, I mean, basically, I because of you know who I am. Like, for example, if you were a culinary student and you became, you know, this amazing cook, and you had a friend and they're like, hey man, like, you know, I really want to cook. I don't enjoy cooking, and I really want to find some fun in cooking. Do you want to hang out for dinner and we'll cook some dinner? So you're gonna have dinner with your friend. You guys are gonna cook together. You're gonna teach them how to cook a certain meal, and you guys are both gonna eat it.
Yeah.
Okay? Because that's what you do. You cook for your life. So obviously, if you're loved ones, you're gonna share what you do. So I had a friend who's like, Ro, can you just come with me to the gym? Like, I don't feel confident, I don't know what to do or whatever, and I just kind of want to learn how to work out.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure. So I'll work out with you. So 4 weeks in, we book it, and it was like a 5-hour day because we're going to work out. Then I was going to show her why we did the exercise, because I really want people to understand what they're doing, why they're doing, and all that stuff, so that they're more empowered to continue to do it on their own.
Yeah.
Always helping them to understand the why, right?
Yeah.
Because we're more apt to doing things when we understand why we're doing them, right?
Yes.
And so We go into the gym and we're both rowing on the rowing machine, and then we're both warming up. And while we're warming up, she was doing something incorrectly, and just went up to her. I'm like, hey, think of doing this, and put your hips here, whatever. Say, okay. So then I went back, was warming up, and then someone came up to me who worked at this gym, and she was a younger female, maybe 20 years old, and she came up to me and she said, excuse me, but I see what you're doing, and it's not allowed. And I was like, what am I doing? And she's like, you're personal training, and that's not allowed. And I'm like, I'm not personal training. I'm working out with my friend. And she's like, well, whatever you're doing, you're personal training, and you're not allowed. I go, but what am I not allowed to do? What exactly of what I'm doing is not allowed? Like, she's not paying me. And she said, we're not allowed to have personal training here, so you're not allowed to do that. I go, do what though? Like, can I give her advice? Like, it's like when we spot our friends. Like, I don't understand. Am I not allowed to talk to her or look at her? Like, I'm here for a workout with my friend. I'm obviously going to guide her, And she's like, well, it's not allowed. And I go, I'm not sure what you're actually trying to tell me. Like, if you're trying to kick me out, I'm not leaving. So you're going to have to go call a security or someone hired to deal with this, because I'm not leaving. I don't understand what you're trying to tell me, right? And she's like, well, fine, then I will. I'm like, okay. Because I still don't know what you want from me, So and funny. So she left, and she came back, and the security card came. And long story short, we were kicked out because she ended up telling them that she felt unsafe. And I was like, but what is it that she feels unsafe about? And they're like, oh, well, it's because I said, I'm not leaving. You're going to have to go call someone. But it's like, the truth was that, like, I was being accused for something that I wasn't even doing. And I was self-expressed. And I spoke the truth, and I said it with conviction, and I was assertive because it was unjust. And she chose to perceive it instead of taking responsibility and saying, and I was a personal trainer. I worked at a gym before. You can't just accuse someone. You have to watch to see if they repeat and keep coming back. And when you have enough of a story, but what it would have looked like in a just way, she would have came up to me and said, listen, we're not allowed to do this. Is that, and if I said I'm not doing it, say, well, I just want you to know we're not allowed to. Mm-hmm. So if that's not what you're doing, that's fine. But just please make sure that you're not. Like, you're going to have to trust me. But no one thinks to just trust, right? We all think that we all have bad intentions, that we're lying. She's treating me like I was this liar, and I just so innocent, so truthful. And I just feel like that's the problem in this world. We grow up with parents who don't believe us, other people don't believe in us, and then we shut down and we aren't self-expressed. And then when we finally are self-expressed, we're told to keep it down, or it's not, you know what I mean? Because God forbid it has a bit of emotion and passion and conviction in what you're saying, because you believe so strongly what you're saying, and then you're being made wrong for that, right? And it's like, it's no different from going through struggle in life. And we're going through struggle, and we're just like getting angry at each other. No one stops to think, what are they going through? Why are they being angry? It's like, oh my God, they're negative, or whoa, you know what I mean? It's so judgmental. It's never about trusting that this person's expressing pain. In fact, it's so real right now that it must be so recent that they're still going through it, right? And I mean, it's just not how we're wired. And so I do believe that that's a big reason why we're afraid to be self-expressed, And yeah, so I was self-expressed, and I got kicked out. It was unjust, and to me it was a reflection of what goes on in this world. These people will get our lights dimmed and everything. I mean, we're gonna take it obviously and write a letter, because I mean, I still gotta go to the gym, work out. They can't ban me for something. It didn't make sense. So obviously we have to look into it. But yeah.
I think there's a few things I want to say.
Yeah.
One is, I'm probably gonna get a little metaphysical for you guys listening and watching, but I guess from the time that you told me the story and the time that hearing it again, for some reason I have a new perspective.
Interesting.
So
okay.
I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing, like, it's literally like a battle between love and, I guess you could say, ignorance, or whatever the opposite of love is for you. Fear.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the real conversation is about. And I think that this happens in life. Like, this is a very big thing.
Well,
I talk about it all the time. What were you going to say?
Well, because at the end of the story, I remember how it ended it was me, her, the security guard, my friend who witnessed it, and two other people who worked there.
Yeah.
And my intention was to find a solution so I can go back and work out. Mm-hmm. Was just to solve it. And so when we went to go talk, I said, listen, I know one thing I'm not going to give up on is the fact that what you're saying that I did is untrue.
Yeah.
So was not personal training, nor am I like receiving payment for it. I'm actually here to work out with a friend. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do apologize about, so from being intentional, to really move forward in the right direction, life, there's always something you can take responsibility for.
100%.
I wasn't stuck on being right.
Mm-hmm.
But I was more intentional in having a solution. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, so where I'm going to take responsibility is maybe how I spoke to you, and I spoke to her in that way with assertiveness because I was defending myself because I was being accused for something that I wasn't doing. Mm-hmm. But if I could be a better person, I might as well admit that, maybe I could have expressed it a different way. Mm-hmm. Maybe I could have been, but it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
And she wasn't going anywhere with what she was saying. She just wanted to make me wrong. I'm like, okay, but what do you want from me, right? And so when I chose to do that, all she said, well, you're just saying that because they're here now. And I'm like, no, I'm doing it because it's been a half hour. I want to move on. There's bigger things in life going on right now. Like, this is not that big of a deal.
But not to her.
Yes, she wanted to stay in the problem. She wanted to stay there, and someone there said, "Can't we just both say sorry?" Like she accused you, because once I told the what actually happened, everyone realized that I was telling the truth, that this girl's just innocently working out. Yeah. But the rules were, if the employee felt unsafe, I had to leave, and they said, "Well, we can solve this if you both just say sorry." And I said, "I already said sorry. Like, I really am sorry for how I spoke to the point where it made you feel unsafe." I actually, allowed her story to be true in that moment because it is true to her.
Yeah. And
she just wouldn't. She wouldn't say, okay, well, I'm sorry for accusing you, and that was a moment for her to be self-empowered and to be bigger. Yeah. And she chose not to. And I left that day, feeling fine, feeling empowered. I took responsibility, but also, we're going to be writing a letter and everything, but also needing to fully be self-expressed, because I'm not standing just for me in that moment. I'm standing for everybody in this world who are treated unjustly and maybe don't have that, don't feel self-expressed. That's what I'm doing it for. And I'm doing it for her as well, because when we react from a place of falsehood, when we're not being honest, it's ourselves that we become more angry with. Mm-hmm. And she knows deep down inside what the truth was of that situation, and she has to live with that. And so in that moment, her pride was bigger than the truth. Like, she just couldn't admit, like, you know what, I'm sorry I accused you. I could have proven it. Like, I know it's a fact, And so anyways, it was a small representation of kind of what actually happens in this world.
Yeah. But what I find interesting about that exchange is that this is happening, I think, all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, when we have conversations with people, to me, and I've spoken to people about this often, is there's always, to me anyways, this underlying energy conversation happening.
You always say that. I love it. We forgot about that.
Yeah.
There's an energetic conversation happening here.
That's what was happening. Like, when she was, I know, right? When you guys were exchanging, you're saying, you can't do that. But it wasn't about that.
No, it wasn't.
She was going through, who knows what she was going through.
Yes.
But I guess this is where, and it's so hard and challenging to do this, especially being someone who's emotionally intelligent, right? How do you say, I know this isn't about fucking gender.
I did say that.
Oh, you said that?
Yeah.
What did she say?
I told her, I said this because it was such a delusionary story. Something around the lines like, listen, I know that has nothing to do with this. I don't know what it is that, you're actually upset about. Wow. But I'm like, when we had to finally leave, I said, but I hope that this changes. Like, I hope that you guys are aware or whatever, because everyone else was like, just say sorry. Like, no one else was attacked. It was clearly just her own thing. Yeah. And I made a mention, I brought awareness around that, where it's like, we all know that this is not what it is, and so I'm surrendered here. Like, it was senseless for me to keep arguing. Yeah.
See,
senseless.
It's
almost like me trying to convince you right now, you're wearing a black top, I'm trying to convince you your shirt's white, and you're like, no, it's black. It's like, no, it's white. You're like, maybe you look at it and
like,
then
under the right light.
Yeah, but you'd be like, no, it's black. And then if I try to pick an argument with you, you'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna go because it's really not. Like, now
time,
it's not worth your time, but I'm gonna leave compassionately. Yeah. Right? But But when we keep people in that pattern, we're not enabling them, right? So yeah, I just didn't entertain it, right?
I want to live in that world where, you know, we call people out on that shit.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Hey, listen, I want to be that person that says, okay, I think we got off on the wrong foot. I don't know why you're attacking me, but I think something's happening with you. If you want to talk about it, we can get inside, have a conversation. I don't know. Like, I want to start being real and authentic with people. Yeah. Even strangers, like, who cares?
Yeah, it's clear this has nothing to actually do with me or the situation.
Forget the security guards at this point, because you guys have no idea what's happening, because they're there to do a job.
Yes.
So they're not attached to their emotional intelligence.
You know what I said to the security guards after they kicked me out?
What'd you say?
I looked at him, I said, how does it feel to do a job, how does it feel working in a job where you're doing something right now where you clearly know you didn't stand for the truth? I said that. Because they were just doing a job. They're like, well, sorry, this rule is, I said, I know, but you heard the story, you know exactly what's going on. You're in power right now to bring clarity. You're in neutrality right now between two people. You can make this a better situation. I'm talking on a humanity level. I'm not talking about just doing your job. Yeah. I said, how does it feel knowing that you didn't actually deal with the truth of the situation right now? It's just because we all want to do the easier thing.
Do you know why that's so deep?
Why?
Because
I was calm about it too. I was curious. I was actually curious. I actually wanted to know how he felt about it.
Oh. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And he said, sorry, it's just not in my control. I'm like, of course, because it's easier that way. Only one employee said, you know, why don't you guys both just say sorry? Like, he saw the truth of it. Yeah. He's like, yeah, it's just like she's not doing anything wrong.
See, it takes
But they had to support it. It's a rule, right?
It's a rule.
Rule. It was a rule in how they had to conduct things.
Well, and that's what I was about to talk about is I think that rules, aka laws, right, can really control people.
Yes.
And make people do really terrible things.
Yeah.
Like,
or make people unconscious.
Unconscious.
Yeah. She would have had a happier day if she said that and maybe wouldn't even have known why. Yeah. But our souls are fulfilled when we do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. But it's because hard of to just do the right thing when there's a law that says.
But that's the story as well. It wasn't hard. I'm telling you, when I did it, it wasn't hard at all. It was actually very freeing and very easy to do it. It wasn't hard. But if we choose to believe that it's hard and we choose to be a victim of, you know, these laws and all these things, then yes, I understand from that perspective, in that context, it's hard. But it's actually not. If you were there, you asked Nicole, it wasn't hard for me to express at all the truth.
See, but this is what I was talking about. I'm so happy this came full circle.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason that it's easy for you, but there's a reason that it's hard for her. So my question now is she in the process of, you know, experiencing what she needs to experience so that she can transition into the space that you're in now, so that she
I mean, she was young, so she's probably gonna have to go through it quite a few times to get the point.
Ah, got you.
Right?
Got you.
So, I mean, that was an opportunity for her to show up, you know, to look at me and see her in me and me in her, and to connect human to human and make it more about the setting that we were in. It was a moment of exchange. And she might have to have it 20 more times to finally realize that we're all one, we're all equal. Her attack on me was her attack on herself. So
is it important for her to have that experience?
Yes. But she had the experience.
Wait, what do you mean?
She had that experience, and she knows she had that experience. On a subconscious level, it did shift her. Because I chose to stand in the truth, I didn't just say, okay, and I left to keep her in the pattern. It shocked her to the point where she said, it makes me feel, because she couldn't confront what really happened. Instead of saying, oh, sorry, I must have accused you. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I literally confronted the situation.
So you provided contrast so she knows that there's another way.
Yeah, so it shook her more than she understands, and she's going to move on in life. Yeah. But a lot of us, see, and that's the thing, is that, you know, the reason why I believe I have a voice is because it's never about me. I'm not speaking for me. I'm speaking for, you know, the world. I'm speaking for the people who don't have a voice. Because when you speak for people who don't have a voice, when you speak and you realize what it's actually doing, it might look ugly on the outside. What it could have looked like was ugly on the outside on my side. But what all that matters, that energetic conversation, is why I'm doing it. And I'm doing it because I'm standing for the truth. And that is the most powerful energy behind your intention that you can have. And you can always trust in what that energy will bring about. What you put out there is what what will come back. And I put only nothing but love and truth in that situation. But we think that love is all soft and easy. Love does not enable, right? And so I spoke for her. You know what I mean? And so if she chooses to have taken it personal or whatever, and you know it's funny because the employees and everything, when I left, you know, if I was one of the employees, even the one said, why don't you guys apologize? I probably would have been like, hey, listen, is everything okay? And if nothing was okay, I would probably help them. And but if they didn't open up and say, you know, no, it's fine, and give me attitude, I would just say, listen, I'm aware that you accused that person, and I just want you to know that I'm not judging you. It's not. I'm not making you right or wrong, but clearly you're going through something, but that was unjust, and I saw it all. I would need that person to know that I saw that, because their own conscience won't say it to them. They're avoiding it, and it's like they were seen. They were seen, and it's important that we do that, and not to make each other wrong. First, we ask, what's wrong? Do you want help? If a person doesn't want help, say, okay, well, just want you to know that, you know, you're not being honest with yourself, and you're not being honest with the situation, right? And if it's because there's something going on, I'm here to help you.
But
because
I feel like there's something interesting about and this is what this is why I have the balance of the light and the dark, the yin yang tattoo, because like there's something interesting about love. Like from the other side of love, like from the perspective of fear, love doesn't actually look like love. No. This is something that I've learned. Like
love
to
is
her,
truth.
She's looking at you like you're an enemy.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was interesting, and it really makes me walk lightly, because I don't know how people are going to receive it, because I'm kind of like you too. Like I like to, you know, put love out there as much as possible, but sometimes I realize that like in doing that, like some people are just not in a space to receive that. Yeah,
but you're not doing it for them to receive it. You're doing it just to be it.
Yeah.
And trusting that they're experiencing it whether they know it or not. Right? So
but I guess the point that I was trying to make there was, you're right. It's not about me putting it out for them, but it really, what am I trying to say? It really changes how I show up.
Because you know that people are not receiving it? Like you feel like it influences?
Well, it's not about how they receive it. It's just about me being present to how much they do receive. Like that's what I've noticed. Because like there's people who have like, you know, lack consciousness, and I'll be like, you know, I'll get food and I'll be like, here, take it, man, take it. And I'm trying to shove food down their throat. And it's like, I've learned to be present with, okay, how much can this person take?
Yeah.
Like, not everybody is so willing to receive, right? So I'm like, listen, now what I do is I'll buy food. And if you're hungry and you want food, I'll be like, the food's here if you want it, but I'm eating. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But I'm like, it's such a thin line.
But you know what's funny? Because you just shared an act that is loving. Do you know what I'm saying? And so sometimes, you know, I guess what I'm saying is that it clearly shows that they're not wanting to receive that, right? But that is an act of love. But what if, you know, what if you gave them something that on the outside didn't look like love? And not that it didn't look like love, but in their world, it didn't look that way, right? Not like you feeding them food. And it's the same thing as kind of like what I said. I was giving this girl love.
See, but this is my question is, what do we do when people refuse love? Because it's like, from our perspective, it's like, are you crazy? This is love. Yeah. But like, what do you do?
Yeah. Well, I guess, I mean, I definitely, one thing I always say is like, never feel sorry for a person. Because if you knew for a fact that you were loved, then you would know for a fact that they're loved. So you would know that the only part of them that is not love is the illusionary world that they're living. They're just choosing not to see it. So I'm not worried for you because the love is there. I'm sorry that you're not allowing yourself to experience it and telling yourself a different story. That you're creating all this noise just to avoid who you are. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna stand here really strong and be that for you. Your eyes see me. I'm gonna walk away. Maybe you'll remember 10 years from now after 10 more experiences. But yeah, I'm not worried for you. Yeah. That's not of infiniteness. That's not of God. You know, real suffering is, I'm talking like, you know, a loved one that dies. I'm talking about, you know, not having food for months, you know, and just being in the war and having your leg blown off. Like, you know, I'm talking about your baby being murdered or kidnapped. Like, this is real suffering. Mm-hmm. But the way you spoke to me makes me feel unsafe. Mm-hmm. I don't feel good enough. Mm. That is that is what we do to avoid experiencing who we are.
Yeah.
You know, because the experiences, like when, you know, when someone passes and we lose a loved one, and those are the things that humble us and actually get us really present to life. Those are a blessing.
I just had a funny thought.
Those are a blessing.
It would have been real funny if you said, listen, I know you're going through some stuff, and you know, I have a little space called Rise Mind Body, and you should swing by for a complimentary stretch.
Yeah. You know what? I actually did say something, and I wish I didn't, but I felt the need to do it. But whatever, I said it, and I just said, you know what? Listen, I offer spiritual guidance. So I know. I said I teach people love for a living. I said, I'm telling you right now, I'm being honest. I'm like the most and then my friend's like, yeah, trust me, like you're not gonna get a more honest person than Rosa, right? And I'm just like, I'm so innocent. I swear, I'm so innocent. Like I'm not doing, like, we're literally not, like, I was really defending myself. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, I teach love for a living, you know? And it was just like, it was so funny, kind of the shit that came out of my mouth. But you know, I was self-expressed in that moment. Whatever came out, came out.
I feel like the people that are the most innocent are the most misunderstood.
Oh, for sure.
It's
totally.
So easy to because it's easy to
we're
project
no longer,
on you.
Well, we're no longer children. Now we're standing in an adult body, so it's not believable that you could be so pure as an adult. That's not believable.
Okay, listen.
You must have a negative intention.
Rosa.
You know?
We have hit the hour, and there's
a few
questions
I
want to
ask.
Like
20 minutes.
I know, right? There's a few things I want to ask you before we get
Can we keep
here.
going? You make it a part 2?
Well, we could just have you back on.
Okay, cool. But you had questions.
I know, but
okay.
You know, it's okay.
Okay.
Well, I could do this forever. This is who I am.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to do before I ask the question is, I want you to just tell us real quick where we can find you, where we can get to you, social media plugs. Go.
Got it. Okay, so we can go to physically. We have I'm the owner of Rise Mind Body Studio, so we have so many opportunities, so many different things. So just check out the website at risemindbody.com. And then to work with me directly, you can go to iamrosarago.com. Mm-hmm. And also we have an Instagram and Facebook for both of those. Mm-hmm. And for working with me directly, you know, there's public speaking, there's retreats and all kinds of stuff. So you can just kind of a one-on-one kind of spiritual guidance and everything. So you can just go ahead and check me out there. I got a podcast and everything, but everything's on the website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Love it. Okay, so this is my final question for you. Drum roll now. I want you, from your perspective, to tell me what God, infinity, whatever that is, love, what it is, and I want you to make it practical. So tell me, explain your definition or your experience of that, and pretend that like I'm a kid.
Okay. And pretend you're a kid.
Yeah, infinity.
Okay. Because you said pretend that I'm a kid, the first thing that came to me was just a moment. And would you ever say that there's ever been a moment, whether you're at the beach or, you know, something happened that was so like, made you so happy and joyful? Do you remember a moment? Can you remember a moment? What's the first moment that comes to you when you're like, whatever it was, maybe one day you went to a beach and you looked and you were so grateful, or maybe you got the best gift ever when you were a kid?
Oh God, there's so many moments.
What's the first one you think of?
Probably like school, being in school as a young kid.
Give me a specific moment.
Being on the playground.
Give me an exact specific moment, like something that someone said to you or anything.
It's literally me being on the playground playing with my friends on the playground.
Got it. And what did that feel like?
Oh, it was like ecstasy.
Okay, tell me about it.
You know, we're all like running around, like climbing on the, you know, the park thing, and swinging down and all that stuff. You know how there's a million things to do?
Yeah.
But I think the beautiful part that made me feel really good was that there was so much to do. Like there was the swing, there was the monkey bars, and I think it was really cool because there was other kids there too, and like the energy of the other kids really created an experience.
What was that experience?
I don't know, just connectivity and community and fun.
And physically see your face as a child. What were you doing?
Smiling, ear to ear.
Yeah. And what was going on with your eyes?
Just like bright, like wide eye.
And what were you focusing on?
Nothing in particular, just like having fun.
Yeah. Cool. That's Scott. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're not thinking about anything you're not worried about the future, you're not regretful of the past. It's not what you're doing, it's just you're in the experience. It's a reverence, it's a childlike awe, just smiling and just feeling good.
Wow.
Yeah, it's everything we actually want. It's actually that simple.
Well, yeah. Like I did not expect you to mastermind that answer like that. That was incredible. I'm like blown away.
Yeah.
I've asked that a few times, and that's probably the most clear response I've ever gotten. Thank you, Rosa Rago, for being on this podcast, blessing us with your presence. Just want to sign off. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for watching. You know the plugs. Check her out. She's awesome. She's epic. Her energy is even more powerful in person. So, there it is. Is there any final words?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on the show. This was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cheers. Awesome. Thank you.
Namaste. I feel like that's what I should say because you're in such a peaceful place. Honestly, I love the Buddha. The Buddha is just like watching over.
Gifts.
Who gave you the Buddha? Whoever gave you that one?
The frame?
Send them
it was in their house and they were getting rid of it and said, do you want it? Yeah, I know.
Who gets rid of Buddha? Who gets rid of Buddha?